Hello, my name is Renaya Curry. I am a student from Boca Raton Community High School, and I chose to focus on the environment. Specifically, I chose to address the lack of environmental literacy among school-aged children in my community. So what's the issue at hand? Well, the Florida Department of Health suspects that as a whole, future scenarios indicate that the average temperature of summers in Florida will be around 95 to 100 degrees Fahrenheit, which is a 12 to 17-degree increase from the current average of 83 degrees. Additionally, according to the Palm Beach Post, a 2017 study by the Florida State University found that South Florida could lose 2.5 million people with just 6 feet of sea level rise. The Southeast Florida Regional Compact on Climate Change projects that Palm Beach County will experience 6 to 10 inches of sea level rise by 2030 and 14 to 26 inches by 2060 if things do not change. So what's the passion behind this project? I believe that environmental literacy is the foundation of advocating for environmental change. Young people today are eager to see change. Social activism, online and offline, are becoming a trademark of our generation. However, if we are not equipped with the necessary tools to even identify the issues in our communities, it becomes harder for us to advocate for change. So let's take Olivia, for example. Let's say she's a 16-year-old high school student from Boca Raton, Florida. Her home is about 3 miles from the beach. She has no idea that in coming years, it could be washed away by rising sea levels. However, imagine one day Olivia goes to school and she hears about an environmental literacy course where she can earn community service hours and learn about the environment. She signs up and she completes the course. She's inspired. She tells her friends and eventually starts an environmental club at her school, encouraging environmental literacy in her community. Communities in South Florida are plagued with environmental issues like rising sea levels and temperatures. Students should be able to possess environmental knowledge needed to identify such conditions. However, today words like conservation, deforestation, and sustainability are holding less and less weight and concern among young people in my community. The prevalence of these issues identifies another core problem. The lack of environmental literacy among school-aged children is a large problem that can further drive the environmental issues we face. So I researched 27 public and charter schools in Boca Raton, and I found that only 2 of those schools are a part of the Florida Green Schools Network. My school, along with the nearby middle and elementary schools, are among the 25 schools who are not recognized as Florida Green Schools. While being a part of the network is not mandatory for schools to implement climate literacy, it shows a commitment to long-term sustainability efforts. On a more local level, the Pine Jog Environmental Center at FAU recognizes 12 public schools in Boca Raton as Green Schools of Excellence, 2 as Green Schools of Quality, another 2 as Green Schools of Promise, and 10 schools have no recognition. While the criteria for being recognized by each group varies, for example, to become a part of the Florida Green Schools Network, schools must implement a minimum of 17 environmental practices in 5 areas of sustainable operations: communication and education, waste reduction, reusing, recycling, water conservation, energy efficiency, and air quality are the 5 areas. So my proposed solution is a literary course. So this peace project will increase the environmental literacy by implementing an online literacy course for students in grades 4 to 12. This project is categorized as an awareness and advocacy project with an emphasis on educating the youth while fostering community. I hope to raise awareness among students on environmental issues by featuring prompts and activities at the end of each lesson and offering community service hours to high school students who complete the program. I plan to create a space where students can increase their environmental knowledge and advocate for change. For potential partners, I anticipate working with the Children's Environmental Literacy Foundation. On a local level, I plan to work with Pine Jog Environmental Education Center at FAU, and I also plan to partner with the Florida Green Schools Network. I believe that these organizations can provide the resources necessary to make my project a reality. So how exactly will it work? So in order to increase the levels of environmental literacy, I will partner with the Children's Environmental Literacy Foundation, also known as SELF, to implement a school-wide environmental literacy course. After speaking with the Director of Education at SELF, I learned about their work in New Jersey. And for reference, in New Jersey, all public schools are required to integrate climate education for students in kindergarten to 12th grade. And while at this point SELF is not in Florida, during our conversation, they expressed interest in partnering with schools here to implement something similar. With the course, SELF students will be able to receive community service hours or certification, and the course will educate students on the current climate issues facing our community, the current programs in place that are attempting to combat climate change, and prompts to get students involved. It will take about 3 to 4 weeks for students to complete, and it will be advertised with flyers and school-wide emails. At the end of course, students will be given a list of places they can volunteer and a list of next steps to continue their environmental education. I also hope to encourage the already established environmental clubs in my school to get involved in spreading environmental literacy and participating in current environmental initiatives in our community. I found that there are currently 12 schools in Boca Raton with environmental clubs. These environmental clubs usually focus more on service-based projects. However, my course would aid in educating on and connecting these clubs to meaningful service and awareness projects that could benefit the wider community. So what are the skills needed? Well, we need the skills to connect students to meaningful service-based projects. For example, NOAA is asking citizens to map urban heat islands. Through the course, students could learn about this initiative and the tree canopy assessment in Boca Raton, which found that Boca Raton has a tree canopy of 26.5%, with potential to increase that to 28% over the next 20 years. Knowing this can encourage clubs and individual students to participate in tree planting projects, which help combat the issue of urban heat islands. I anticipate for the course to inspire students and clubs to get involved and to create a space where students are inspired to help the environment and advocate for change. So I will know my project is successful when students are able to articulate basic environmental knowledge and are driven to participate in environmental projects and programs in their communities and schools. I anticipate my project to facilitate students at Boca Raton Community High School. And in the long term, if my project is successful, I hope to have reached at least 80% of public and charter school students in my district, so about 13,000 students. This project and similar projects are needed now more than ever. Every day, South Florida becomes more and more affected by climate change. Helping students in Boca Raton to gain environmental knowledge is the beginning steps in ensuring community support for environmental initiatives. With just a 3 to 4 week course, students can gain the knowledge needed to make real change in their communities. And because my project is meant to be implemented virtually, we will be able to see exactly which schools implement the project, how many students engage with the course, and then we can use this data to compare to the service-based projects completed by clubs or individual students. So what makes this a peace project? So this is a peace project because I hope to raise awareness within my community and to foster a sense of community. I hope to address the invisible structural violence, the structural violence of climate change being that it can cause millions in South Florida to lose their homes. And instances such as urban heat islands can drastically affect the air quality, which can lead to human displacement. And all of this can further drive conflict. Specifically, I hope to build relationships with the ecological sphere of peace, and I desire to see a well-functioning government and a free flow of information. So no matter how much we ignore the climate issues in our communities, they are still there. Teachers, students, and staff members alike should join me to educate the youth on the importance of environmental literacy and advocacy. So parents, set an example for your kids. Teach them about how their actions affect the environment, or read them books about it. Students, take the time to educate yourself on what is happening around you. That can be through watching a YouTube video or even following environmental activists on social media. Anyone and everyone can contribute to climate education at any time. So if you want to encourage environmental literacy in your school, contact me. Ensuring that all students have access to climate education is a team effort. And by doing this, we are addressing the limitations in our community that stop students from fully understanding the environmental issues that are facing them right here and right now. Thank you.